Today's MSM Draw is brought to us by Cooked Calden. Submit a prompt with the hashtag MSM Draw in this video for a chance for it to be drawn in the next one. Alright class, settle down. Let's begin today's lesson of what's in a name. The two monsters we're going to be looking at today are the epic Cybop and the Bleatnik. The Cybop's name comes from the words cyborg and bop. Cyborg is a combination of a machine and an organic being, and bop is another word for music. Similarly, the epic Cybop's first name, Cybog, is just a misspelling of the word cyborg. Now, the next name for epic Cybop references its entire theming, which is that of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, which used to be an old cartoon and a comic book. So this Cybop's name is Eternia, which references the planet Eternia in the He-Man universe. And his next name, He-Man, is just a combination of the name He-Man and monster. Huke is based off of the character Hawk from the cartoon series, and Loop-de-Loop ties in the second mechanic of the epic Cybop's bio, the fact that he ziplines from place to place. Spade references the spade on the epic Cybop's tail, and perhaps the character Spectre from the He-Man series because he has a spade on his chest. Sway Skull is a three-part name. Sway and Skull, because the epic Cybop hangs from its head on a zipline wire, and also the name Grey Skull, which is the name of a castle or fortress on the planet Eternia in He-Man. Trapjaw comes from the word jaw, which references the epic Cybop's jaw harp sound, and also the character Trapjaw from He-Man, and he's a cyborg, and notice how he has the same sort of zipline loop on the top of his helmet as the epic Cybop does. Underbite is a mix of the words underbite, if you couldn't tell, where the jaw sticks out in front of the face, and also bite, which is a rope knot, or an area of rope which references the zipline of the epic Cybop. And finally, zipline, which is a zipline. Now we can move on to the Bleatnik, which has a very interesting origin for its name. Bleatnik is a combination of the words bleat, which is the sound that a goat makes, because the Bleatnik is based off of a goat, and also the term beatnik. Now, a small history lesson. Beatniks were a social movement in the 1950s that revolved around the aspect of having a non-materialist lifestyle. The Beatniks were associated with the band The Beatles, which makes sense because that's what the Gajoob's name and the bio and the Bleatnik's bio are based off of. The first name your Bleatnik can have is Amnos, which is a shortened version of the word Oriamnos, which is the family that includes mountain goats. The next name, Baraka, comes from the name Amiri Baraka, who was a beatnik who wrote poetry, also known as a beat poet. Bergskin is a reference to Allen Ginsberg, another beat poet. And Bovidae is a corruption of the word bovidae, which includes hooved animals, including goats. Burroughs references William Burroughs, a beat poet, and Kesey references Ken Kesey, a beat poet. Cassady refers to Neal Cassady, who, you guessed it, was a beat poet, and Huncke refers to Herbert Huncke, who worked at an ice cream store. No, I'm kidding, he was a beat poet. And finally, Kerouac, which comes from Jack Kerouac, who is the one who actually coined the term beatnik. The next name for the Bleatnik, chamois, is a combination of the words chamois, which is an antelope-y, goaty looking thing, and perhaps meh, because it's a goat. Skox is a shortening of the term muskox. And finally, Tawkeen just references a Tawkeen, which is a big, ugly goat. And there's the bell, which means class is dismissed.
Thank